The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mind of a Geek. We are back, and I am joined, as always, by Brad.
Well, not always lately.
Well, as always on this show.
Most of the time.
On this show.
I mean, I can't really remember what the show even is, so.
Now and then.
I've got bad head, my beard is sideways. It's not a good night to be on camera.
It's all good. I have a new hat. It's branded. I like it.
It's true. It's true.
It works. So we are here. It is season 5. It is episode 10. Although it might just be episode 11 instead of making the Troy Nelson episode a bonus episode. We'll just maybe numerize it.
Yeah, fuck it.
So anyway, for those that are regular listeners and follow the calendar and saw that Brett Stewart was supposed to be on this evening and realized that the person on the camera to the right of our camera is not Brett Stewart.
Brett, you changed, man. You changed.
Brett had some personal stuff come up, contacted me
Brett
yesterday
had some
morning
work done.
and asked me to cover. So past guest and good friend and fellow podcaster, Mr. Jonny Fashion from the Maine Event podcast, has agreed to come on and hang out with us and chill. So Jonny, welcome. Jonny John. I like Johnny John. That's your wrestler name if you ever wrestle.
There it is.
Johnny John Fashion.
Nice. I like it.
Fashionable Johnny John.
Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. This was a coincidence, like fill-in here. This is awesome. Good. I'm glad I could make this.
I feel the enthusiasm.
Very good.
I mean, it works. The last episode of this particular podcast had Troy Nelson on it. We have Main Event. We have Limitless Wrestling coming up this Friday. So it works that we squeezed you in right here.
Man, it's like the stars are aligned, fellas.
Right. It all
This is
works out.
happening.
So it's been several months, and I think maybe a season or two since the last time you were on. So
Yeah, it's been a while.
yeah. It doesn't seem like it's been a while because we see you every other month at Limitless. So-
Correct. Yes. Which is always a pleasure too, by the way, guys.
Well,
It's
thank
always
you.
Fun to, I say that all the time with my podcasting co-host Harmon. I say, man, it's just fun to go to these shows, and it's almost like you get to hang out with family again. It's like going to like a family dinner. You go and you're like, you're seeing everybody you don't really hang out with on a daily, but you see them like once every 2 months, and it's fun, man. It's a good feeling. So,
right. I've mentioned that to Randy before, where like that week and a half, 2 week period up before, like you get like it's the anticipation almost. Like you get excited, the cards getting revealed and
The fandom grows.
yeah, the matches are getting excited.
I like the family dinner metaphor, especially where it's wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you can't have family dinner without fighting and awkwardness. And, I mean,
of course,
someone swearing at someone.
we're wrestling fans. Just look at us.
I know, right?
we're a mess.
What a cross-section of humanity. Jeez.
Yeah.
There's somebody put out a tweet. This was a few weeks ago, and they said something about like how like the stereotype of wrestling fans, and I responded to it. I replied saying like, like I have a stereotype in my head of how I see like your stereotypical wrestling fan, right? Kind of like how you'd see your stereotypical gamer, right? And then I was like, but wait a second though. Perhaps that's not fair to judge all wrestling fans that way because I live in Maine. So maybe that's just my Maine stereotype and it just crosses over into wrestling.
Yeah, maybe. Do you guys ever try to think of like how people who don't know anything about wrestling or like have never been into it, like how they view it? Like they're just flicking channels, like, and they just like, Raw comes on, they just quickly go buy it. You ever think about that? Like it's so weird to them, right? It must just be like this foreign thing that they have no interest in, and I've just never experienced it because I've watched wrestling since I was like 5, like ever since I can remember in formed memories. I guess I've always just been there in my life, it's weird when somebody tells me that they're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know anything. Like, what blew my mind the other day, somebody told me they didn't know who The Undertaker was. And I was like, what? Come on.
Now, The Undertaker transcends wrestling fandom, I think. It's like
That's
Spider-Man, or the X-Men or Avengers now. Like, everybody should at least have heard the name before.
Right. Undertaker he's Batman of wrestling.
Yeah. And as for just regular fandom and being outside of it, I didn't start watching wrestling until I was 14, so I think, I don't know, the bias might be age-based. When I was a kid and it was on Saturdays and it interrupted my Saturday morning cartoons, I was like, what is this in my 5-year-old mind? What is this bubblegum shit? All these bright colors and weird, greasy men. No, it was not for me at the time.
But is it?
It wasn't until the Attitude Era when it reflected me, right? Flannel, denim.
But when it was bright and bubblegum and it was all these over-the-top, overzealous characters, didn't it fit right in there with Saturday morning cartoons?
Not for me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure the connection is there and it makes sense that it would be there, but no.
See, because that's like, I never got into it.
My Saturday morning cartoons consisted of like Dino Saucers and Ninja Turtles,
Dude,
and things that were a little grittier,
I couldn't watch Dino Saucers for years. I had the worst nightmare.
About a T-Rex from space?
No, they came in and they
invaded your ass.
They invaded the house, and I forget the name of the two. I mean, it was Transformers with dinosaurs.
Yeah, basically.
But like the bad guys like tried to kidnap me, and I had the worst fucking nightmare.
So did you watch like the USA Cartoon Express?
I don't remember.
The Snorks and Inspector
I
Gadget.
remember that. That's cool.
Oh yeah,
Man
okay,
and
Snorks,
She-Ra.
yeah. Somebody, I think it was Whitney, Nineball, former Mind of a Geek guest, who tweeted out a Nickelodeon list from like a 1990 something, and it was like Eureka's Castle and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, I was like, I miss sick days from school because I'd watch that whole lineup.
More or less,
Yeah.
except for, I don't know. When it started to get to the point on like Nick Jr., when you had Face, I was out. When it was like Maya the Bee and David the Gnome and Magellan's Castle and shit, all right. But you remember Face?
No,
Hi there, Face here. It was just a big orange or whatever colored screen with a face.
no.
Somebody in the chat room will know.
I remember like a lot of game shows on Nickelodeon, which I loved.
Yeah, they're
Like
bringing
Double
back
Dare.
Double Dare.
Double Dare's coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dug Double Dare and like the video game one where you were in the video game.
Yeah, that was cool. And then like the Hidden Temple game. show.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was really cool. I liked that one a lot. Guts.
I love
Global
guts. Let me get up in them
Yeah.
guts. The
Although,
Crag.
that guy, yeah.
Michael O'Malley?
Yes, he is annoying as shit. But I remember the announcer chick.
He had a sitcom later on that was great.
The referee chick was really hot.
And British.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that was my original love for British people. Was that chick from Guts?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, man.
You wanted
What
to
it's about.
climb the Crag
I went to climb the crag.
and get up in her guts.
No, I mean my biggest Nickelodeon thing is Snick. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Are
you guys remember
Are
Roundhouse?
you afraid of the dark?
Like the original like late night.
Yeah, man. Roundhouse, absolutely. Yeah, it was like a kind of a sketch comedy.
Yeah, it was sketch comedy
thing.
before all that.
What
I liked
about,
it better. It was grittier. My favorite thing about it was when they did like static on the TV. They would use their hands. Static, static, static,
Yeah.
static. Jazz hands. Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome. I loved that show. It was great.
What about Salute Your Shorts?
Oh,
And,
I love that so much more than Hey Dude.
Well, see, I loved Hey Dude.
No, fuck
too.
that show, man. Hey Dude is shit.
Brandon,
Salute Your
I'm right
Shorts.
there with you, buddy.
Yeah.
I did not like Hey Dude. I always sided towards Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah, man.
But Hey Dude was where what's her face got her big start.
Christine, whatever, the blonde, the one that's married to Ben Stiller.
Is she married to Ben Stiller? Yeah, the one that she was Marsha in Brady
Yeah,
Bunch.
her.
Yeah.
But Salute Your Shorts had Budnick and Donkey
Oh,
Lips
yeah.
and Sponge and Telly and Dina.
And who was the guy that played the counselor?
You know how I remember that shit? Because I never grew up. Ugh.
Oh,
Ugh. Yep, that's what
Ugh.
it was.
Ugly.
He makes boots now.
Yeah. Does he? Uggs. Zeke the plumber. That was a good episode.
Have you ever seen that episode of
Oh, yeah.
Seinfeld where George tells jokes in meetings and he leaves?
No.
Just so he always leaves on a high point. And then like stuff starts happening and everybody thinks he's great, so he gets all this work in his lap that he doesn't want.
No.
Because the meeting will start, he'll tell a good joke or say something smart, and then just be like, all right, I'm out. No, it's a great episode.
No,
On
I-
that note, I'm out. I'll see you.
I do remember the one though where like somebody insulted him, and then like he thought of the
The
comeback.
jerk store. I had that
He
T-shirt.
thought of the comeback like halfway back, so he drove back to work to give the comeback.
Hey George, the ocean called. They're running out of shrimp. Oh yeah, well the jerk store called. They're running out of you. That's what I should have said. Yeah.
I feel like I've watched a ton of Seinfeld. Like there was a period in time where I watched a ton of Seinfeld, but I'm the worst at quoting Seinfeld. I can quote a lot of other things, but Seinfeld is just not my jam.
I go to bed to Seinfeld, so
Most
it's
people
my
are,
favorite.
Most people are the worst at quoting Seinfeld because one thing because there's all these misquoted things like the whole Luke, I am your father. Vader never actually says that. Seinfeld never once said, "What's the deal with?" He's never said it. Never said it on a stand-up. Never said it on a show. And according to a factoid that I read, and that's just a misquoted thing that he's never actually said. The whole and it's one of those things that stuck and it just got misquoted.
Huh?
But
it's funny how things like that happen.
yeah, I think Luke, I am your father is the biggest one though.
Right.
Yeah, there's a phenomenon for that. I can't think of the name of it. Like the Berenstain Bears.
Oh yeah, it
has a name. It's lost on me right now, but
I bet either Amy or actually no, Derek's there too. I bet somebody in the chat will know. But yeah, no, the one where you remember something.
Yeah. You can blame it on the CERN reactor and the universe splitting into two alternate realities.
Well, yeah, people use it as that's when it split. What about you, John? Is it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
It's neither. I don't have really a good memory of them at all. I kind of missed that a little bit.
He's an alien. He's not from either
The
dimension.
Mandela effect. The Mandela effect.
That's it.
Is it Mandela?
Mandela, I think.
Who did that? Who told us
Nice
that?
job, Growly.
Growly Bear.
Growly. Unbelievable.
It's because he's in the future. He had time to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sunday morning for him.
I do kind of freak out at pronunciations though sometimes, like if people say scallops instead of scallops, or you know what actually happened recently on our podcast? Harmon said coupons instead of coupons.
You are in Maine though, so scallops and coupons and the
I
word
thought
color pronounced Keller. Does that happen to you?
I thought they were scallops.
That's a northern Maine thing, Keller
Please
and
to God,
color.
stop it.
Aren't they scallops?
Stop it.
Is that
Do you feel like having some scallops? I could use some fried scallops.
Does root and route bother you too?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have two that really bug me. I wanted to punch.
whatever.
I wanted to punch a girl.
Oh, you know what I hate?
Hold on.
Oh, I hope you don't say it.
I wanted to punch a girl at Dairy Queen the other day because I ordered a turtle pecan blizzard. And
She
she
said
goes,
pecan.
"What?" I'm like, "The turtle pecan blizzard." She goes, "Oh, you mean pecan?" I'm like, "Are you fucking retarded?"
She's in a service position. She shouldn't correct you.
No, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
But like she had like the fact that she didn't know what I'm. And the other one is, this is kind of a douchey thing. I hate it when people say scenario. It's scenario. Say fucking scenario.
I think that you're just reaching so you can be pretentious.
But
You don't say scenario.
I do
Fuck
say
you.
scenario.
I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind.
Whenever we do a World of Warcraft scenario, I will say scenario.
All right,
I say
what was
scenario.
It? Oh, we're going back to Forza and Forza. Here we go.
I've got a scenario for you. Let's go get some scallops.
What is it, Nate? Is it Forza or Forza?
It's Forza.
You know what bothers me is the people that do this supposedly instead of supposedly. I have a few friends and coworkers. Hey, supposedly we're gonna have a meeting, and I bite my tongue. I can't talk to you anymore.
Now I will have moments of density where I try and remember in my head, is it supposedly or supposedly?
And brung. Does anybody say brung anymore? Bring that shit to me. Brought, not brung, brought.
I brung it over to you.
Ugh.
Harmon on the show will like call me out on bullshit like that though if I do make a mistake. So I don't hesitate at all to call him on that bullshit either. So so it's good. One time we were talking about the Legion of Doom, and then like in the very next segment we were talking about Daniel Bryan's lesions on his brain when he had to retire, and I said legions on his brain, and Harmon did not let me live it down.
Look at that fucking army of soldiers on his brain.
He's got scallops on his brain.
I was like, I clearly meant legions, but we were just talking about the Legion of Doom, so cut me some slack, asshole.
So in the chat room, Growly Bear says caramel or caramel. I think with that one, it depends on what you're talking about. Like, if you're talking about like
Caramel Maine.
Well, but I mean like
there's no caramel Maine.
Like if you're talking about like corn, like popcorn. It's caramel corn. It's not caramel corn. It's caramel corn. But like, I want some caramel candies, or some. You're not gonna say I want some caramel ice cream. Like that sounds like a brand name. You're gonna say I want some caramel swirl ice cream.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
I think that it depends on the use.
For years, and this one's probably pretty lenient, but for years I said Porsche, and a car geek of mine said, "Dude, it's Porsche."
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that go. It's Porsche.
It's Porsche.
I know what it is. I don't give a fuck. It's Porsche.
All right, so that one's split. Good, because I mean, for years, my whole life, I said Porsche, and he was like, "Dude, it's Porsche, you asshole." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I'm not a car guy."
Now there's another one, and I forget the correct one, but Jaguar is also not Jaguar.
It's not?
No.
Jaguar.
Yeah, it's like no. It's
Jaguar.
Is it Jaguar? Well, I mean, yeah, but it's not that stiff though. Like there's an elitist way to say it, but it's not.
You're trying to do it right now.
It's not actually Jaguar. But
my
no.
Jag.
And
my
like,
Beamer.
And then there are times that I'll get like just annoyingly correcting. Like whenever anyone calls a Volkswagen, I say it's Volkswagen. Say it fucking correctly.
You are the Ted Mosby of this podcast right now. That's
the who?
Happens. Ted Mosby, How I Met Your Mother. He's always doing that. I've
never watched it.
You've never watched How I Met Your Mother? Oh, do yourself a favor. It's fantastic.
I couldn't stay on long enough for him to actually meet his wife.
Yeah,
is it Jaguar?
Like the last season, but
no, I don't.
Jaguar.
No, there's like a snooty way to say.
Hey, Mark McGuire has a Jaguar guy. He gets his scallops down on Route 1. Yes, sir. Supposedly, we're going to get a beer later. I'm going to take my Porsche. No, fuck you. I'm out. No. Fuck this podcast. I'm pissed off.
My favorite Marley bit is how he says all Mainers know how to speak Chinese. Fucks up with Chew.
Where is Bob Marley? I haven't seen anything.
He's doing a show in One City Center.
Is he?
I think tomorrow.
He does shows at Taste of Maine up in Bath a lot, but I haven't seen a new album for a while.
Oh no, I think it's all touring at this point.
So it used to be new material every year, and now I just hear the same stuff.
It's all touring. Yeah. This has been a very informative episode.
Very.
Hey, so as we mentioned at the top, it's been a little while. How's the show doing, man? We talked about in the pre-show a little bit. You just recently had JT Dunn on. You guys are doing great. You're getting seemingly very well recognized in the local community and beyond. So how are things in the MEP
universe? Yeah, it's going good, man. Mm-hmm. It's going great. Like you said, we had JT Dunn on this week. We're getting a lot of good feedback for that. He's got a pretty good following, so a lot of people that have never heard of us are kind of just tuning in just to hear him. Hopefully, they stick around. But yeah, we're kind of it's like you guys. I mean, it's peaks and valleys. Some weeks something stands out and you get a ton of hits, and some weeks you hear the crickets. But it's going well. Right now, we're in a pretty good stretch. So we had JT Dunn on. We had Ashley Vox on the week prior to that. She was in character in Oceania character for Shakara. So that's pretty cool. Before that, going back, I think our last interview we had Martin Stone on, which is pretty awesome because he just got signed full time for WWE. So that's pretty awesome. It's cool to catch these guys or girls before they get signed. It's pretty neat. Harmon actually posted a time hop today of when we had Josh Briggs on from a year ago.
I saw that. Yeah.
Since then, he's just been tearing it up in the indie scene.
He's huge now. He's got that,
and so it's really awesome to kind of catch these guys before they do something really awesome. And but yeah, the show's doing great. Let's see, we got mentioned in the Portland Press Herald. Somebody did an article on just Maine made podcasts, so we got a quick mention. Nothing too fancy, but we're there. So got a little bit more recognition there. So
nice.
It's cool. It's going good. And the whole thing is we're just having fun. I think I said that last time. We just have fun. We don't worry about the numbers too much. I do kind of a monthly analysis where I kind of just look at, what worked some weeks, certain times for posting stuff, like, just looking for trends. But other than that, like week to week, we're not really going crazy on checking numbers and promoting stuff. We do it because we love it, man. We love wrestling, and we love hanging out. Harmon and I, we like just talking, and it's kind of rekindled a friendship between him and I that we never lost, but it's like one of those things. I'm sure you guys have friends where you guys.
Well, that's what we
this
were the
is
exact,
exactly the bromantic story that we live
like
too.
You touch base every once in a while, but you never really hang out. And this kind of podcast has kind of brought us back together. And for the last, God, I want to say like 3-4 years, we've pretty much been inseparable. Like talking almost every single day. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty cool. I'm loving it, man. It's fun. No end in sight. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I used to be very anal about numbers. It was check them all the time, check them every day. How many more did I get today? And I mean, I'll still look at a new show because sometimes like you get that episode 1 and it will pop up and maybe like a new and noteworthy or something like that. So you're like, hey, let's see what the new show does or something like that. But it's for the most part, like if I have a big guest on who I know brings their own following, I will check those numbers and then I will check the following week's numbers to see like how that affected the average.
Sure.
But other than that, I mean, it's one of those things. Like you got it exactly right. We love to do it. We have a ton of fun doing it. And like the people that like it. And because there are people that like it, that means that potentially more people will like it and it'll get to their ears eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And
you said you got a great post the other day about it, actually. I can't quote it, but it was along that same lines where like, you do this thing and, if people listen, they do. And if they don't, they don't.
Right.
And, you kind of move on. So
right.
like the listeners and will come. And I think you were kind of comparing it to, like full-time podcasters that are bringing in like, $10K a month or something crazy, like
right.
these guys.
Oh, that's not even crazy. One of the podcasts I listen to is up to almost $40,000 a month on one show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is stupid.
Yeah. It's pretty nuts.
But yeah, and you just, and I mean, that post, I mean, like my @reply started as someone was talking about streamers, but streamers are the same thing. Like you can't look at these people like you can't, like, again, because it's a very similar parallel. Like you can't go into Twitch and expect to be Dr. Disrespect in the first month. It's not going to happen. Like this guy, one, he's an ex-Call of Duty developer. He worked for Infinity Ward. He comes in with a following. So you can't be a nobody because I mean, at the end of the day, 90 to 99% of us, we're nobodies. Like we have our friends and our family and we matter to those that we love and those that love us. But on the grand scheme of things, we're nobodies. So you can't go in there as a nobody and expect to, like, you have to push and you have to have those days and those weeks and those months where you average 3 viewers or 5 viewers. And it's the same with podcasting. Like you go in and you average, your 5 downloads or your 50 downloads, your 100 or whatever it might be. But there was a great, and I know I've mentioned it a couple times. We had Justin Robert Young on, and he was on again recently, but when he was on that first time, he made a comment about how people get obsessed with numbers. And yeah, if you're playing the ad revenue game or Patreon subscribers or anything like that, like if it's your business, then just like any other business owner, you have to run numbers.
Of course.
But if you are doing it as a hobby and as a passion, people get obsessed with numbers. And the problem is the internet has blown them out of scheme. And you see YouTube videos with millions of hits and Twitch channels with 200,000 viewers when you have 2. And like you allow that to be blown out of proportion because of the internet. He's like, but if you do a podcast every week and you have 15 downloads a week, that's 15 people a week who essentially shut up and listen to you talk for an hour. Yeah. He's like, if you remove the technology from that and you use that parallel to say you have 15 people coming to your house to listen to you talk for an hour and a half every week, he's like, you have a cult.
Yeah.
He's like, but we allow those numbers to get blown out of proportion. He's like, you are 1 or 2 people doing something that is maybe not changing, but at least impacting the lives of 15 other people who enjoy what you do. Like you're making a difference, and no matter how large or small, and as those numbers grow, that difference becomes larger. And even if that difference is just you're entertaining somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. I look at it as like, I'm giving somebody something to listen to while they're mowing the lawn or they're driving to work or whatever, like, I mean, I go from like podcasts to music, and I go through like stints, like I'll listen to music for like a week, and then like whatever I'm feeling, like maybe I'll dive back into podcasts, the next week or whatever, but I just can't do music all the time, and I can't do podcasts all the time. So like I get it, like there's got to be like that other alternative kind of media. So I love it. It's fun, and I've learned a ton in the last couple of years. I'm always learning things. I'm always like figuring it out. Thankfully, there hasn't been like a ton of issues, really like technical or really just like creatively. It seems to flow pretty well on our show. I did a show before we did the main event podcast. I did a show like just about not wrestling stuff, just about kind of like everyday life. And like the very first thing I think I learned about podcasting was that not everybody you want to be on your show wants to be on your show. And not and, like friends who you think would make really good guests that like, oh, you have an interesting life, like come on my show, I want to talk about it. They don't necessarily want to do that. And I was like kind of taken back at that at first. I was like, I want to do this thing that's really cool. You should too. And it just,
or they want to do it and they're bad at it. Like,
yeah,
I had a friend that I won't name who was a guest on Geek Access back when we first did that. And I had him on, I introduced him, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Good. Well, thanks, buddy.
Well, were you on the show with him?
Huh?
Were you on the show with him? You were, right?
We were all.
Did you
on the
give
show.
him a chance to say more than a sentence?
I said, yeah.
Before you started talking?
I did. It was like awkward silence.
Hey, how's it going? All right. Oh.
Dude, that's tough with like, I've had some interviews like that too, though, that are really like.
So
really
have we. We've had plenty of shows where you can't pull anything from anyone. So then it's just like any other show that we do where we just talk.
Right.
And that's bound to happen, but.
I'll tell you, I mean, I'll name drop right now because he's not going to listen and no one gives a shit. But like, I interviewed Rene Dupree once when he came to Limitless, and it was a disaster. The whole thing was a disaster. He's fine. Like, he's an all right guy. Like, he was very nice and stuff. But so I'm not like throwing him under the bus. But it was just a hard interview. He wasn't really giving me anything. I had like a list of questions on my phone. We went through them in like 3 minutes. Like, and he was just giving me like 1-word answers, and then I got a little flustered. It was just awkward. And then also just to get the interview, he wanted a little something for it. Like he was like, hey, just if you buy a t-shirt, like, if you support my business, I'll support your business. And I don't typically like doing that kind of business, like no. I don't like to pay for that kind of stuff. I feel like in return, these guys get a little bit of, whatever, publicity or free publicity or whatever, So I was a little reluctant at first, but I was still pretty new to it. And so I agreed, and I was like, sure, I'll buy a shirt. He's got some cool designs. Like, sure, I'll buy a shirt. You come on the show, do an interview. It'll be great. It was not great.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to prostitute for IP. That's not great.
So he showed up with a shirt that was not the shirt that I wanted. He showed up. He's like, this is just some like random shirt. It was a terrible design. It was just, I was like, oh, okay, thank you for this, I guess. Here's my money, and let's do this interview. And it was really difficult interview. Like I said, he wasn't really giving me anything. Again, he's not a bad guy or anything. I don't want to put that impression out there. It's just that he just didn't have a lot to say.
Yeah.
I was a little reluctant to talk about his WWE days just because I know the hard times that he had there, and plus it's like beating a dead horse. Like I think everybody's been reported on that, so it was really hard. I was just trying to talk to him about indie wrestling, and he didn't really have much to say about it. So
that's pretty bad. Somebody who's gone that far and they still stonewall you and give you the bare minimum for an interview, he should know better.
Yeah, you would
and
think,
you bought a T-shirt.
Yeah, and I don't know. It was just weird. The T-shirt literally looked like my son drew it. I was like, "What is this? Like, what is this thing?" I was like, "What? Okay." But it wasn't my son, so I'm not gonna wear it.
I can't.
I have no couth at all. I would have said that if I was interviewing him. What the fuck is this, man?
I can't.
This is not what we agreed on.
I can't put a face to a name. Rene Dupree.
He was in WWE. Him and Rob Conway, and I'm forgetting somebody else. La Resistance. They were like French tag team. Rene Dupree and Sylvain Grenier was the other guy's name, but they were like, I don't know, early 2000s. I
Oh,
think mid 2000s maybe.
you know, like I would expect he wouldn't have much to say.
Russian Spetsnaz.
So he drove down from like Canada, and I was like, "Hey man, how was the drive?" He's like, "Terrible, terrible." I was like, "Okay, well,
That was it. Terrible.
You're here. I mean, like you're wrestling. I mean,
made
I don't
it.
know."
Right.
So I don't know. He just seemed to be a little cranky. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
It
anyway, so
happens.
those are fun.
And
Those
there's a
interviews
lot of
happen.
guys, like, I mean, I don't know how old he is age-wise, but they don't get the podcasting thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a radio show. It's not like, because they're like, they want to be interviewed by like the local radio show where it's going to be heard by thousands of people live on the radio. Or
Well,
like
sometimes they don't even want that.
yeah,
If it's not national, fuck, nobody wants to talk to radio guys half the time.
that's true.
Like, look at Free Beer and Hot Wings and Morning Zoo Radio. You get a lot of guests on there that don't give them shit.
Right. Because that's the big thing for me. Like I had mentioned, like there's a couple podcasters that I've reached out to recently who are, again, they're professional podcasters. One of them is the podcasters that make almost 40 grand a month. And like, I was explicit in my email. I'm like, look, we have a little tiny show. It's a hobby. You probably have nothing to gain from coming on other than making some of your fans happy. But we would love to spend.
And by some, he means two.
Well, I mean, there are people who listen to the particular show I'm talking about, which I won't mention because I don't want to give them a bad like look if if they choose not to. But there are people that listen to the show that I know are fans of that show. But give us a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour of your time, whatever. Like it'd be totally cool. And it would be like I'd very much appreciate it, right? And realistically, I don't expect to hear back. But you got to reach out. But the thing is, and that's what you do. Like, there's nothing wrong with, and that's the polite thing to say. I'm sorry, I don't have time. And I'm sorry, I don't have time. Usually means I have no desire to do that.
Yeah, it's a nice way to say it.
Right.
So,
Now,
I mean, I've been lucky. I've been lucky enough. I mean, all it takes is like, a cold call, a blind email, and sometimes you reel them in. That's how I got Jack Swagger. It was just I emailed him, on his booking email. And I just kind of, was super polite and just said, hey, the same deal. Hey, we're a small podcast. You're coming to town. We're looking to hype the show. We've got a good relationship with Limitless Wrestling. We're big fans, which is true. I wasn't trying to just like, butter them up. Would you give us? I always shoot low. I always go like half hour. You give us half hour of your time. And usually once the interview starts, they get settled in, and if it's going well, they'll give that half hour turns into an hour. So
yeah.
But no, Jack was great. Like he was so awesome. Like he actually canceled like the first week or postponed. And I was like, oh, this is it. Like this is how this is gonna go. He's gonna postpone, and we're never gonna reschedule. But he was awesome, man. He rescheduled. He stuck to his word, and he was great. So sometimes, yeah, man, it's just like that little blind email, and it can go a long ways, and you can catch a big fish like Jack Swagger. So
wrestling,
it was cool.
Wrestlers seem unique in that sense, in that they, not that other people don't have passion, but with wrestlers, especially indie wrestlers, because Jack Swagger is probably a unique one because he's not so much like a territorial guy. Like he's touring everywhere and doing wrestling because he's an ex-WWE star. But with guys that are local or are still working their way up, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a big paycheck to be an indie wrestler, especially when you think about, like, you have to pay for your gear, you have to pay for your merch, which you're hoping that you're making money back on. You got to, I'm sure most of them probably pay for their own travel. Like there's a lot you're paying out. It's very much like being a garage band or an indie band, or like you are paying a lot of that. So they have to have that passion to give them the drive to continue doing it. So when you are passionate about that, and you have somebody who has something that they're passionate about with the podcast, and they are such a fan of yours that they want you to express your passion on their passion, like that's a big deal. And I think a lot of the people who, whether it's, I mean, maybe some pro wrestlers or some podcasters or things like that, like people tend to forget that. And they're like, oh yeah, I was that guy with only a couple hundred downloads once. Like, let me pay back a little bit, you know? And it's, I mean, whatever, it is what it is. I mean, no one knows anybody anything, but it's nice to see people who don't forget kind of where they came from or appreciate the love of their work enough to say, yeah, I'll come hang out with you for a half hour. And then it winds up being like an hour and a half or two.
Yeah.
It's
like generally we've been pretty lucky on the show. I think there's only been one, and I won't name names, obviously, someone who like kind of just gave us the cold shoulder, like promised us 3 separate occasions that they were going to come on the show, set up a time, a place, you know, and just bailed, just no showed, like 3 separate times. And obviously,
was it MJF?
It was not MJF. I mean, that would make sense because that would be like, that's his character. But no, right. it was actually.
Well, you don't have to name drop. It's fine.
No, I'm not gonna name drop. But it was a fairly popular local wrestler that a lot of people really like, and it's unfortunate because I will probably never ask that person on again just because they burned me like 3 times. And it was when we first started out too, and so, you know, I don't know, maybe they just saw it as, you know, that we didn't have the legs to go the distance, I guess.
My curiosity is killing me. I have to ask you off air. Because I don't want to assume it was anybody, but like,
I wonder if we're assuming it was the same person or not.
I'm wondering.
I'll tell you off there.
That's fine. No, I mean,
that's fine. So that's really been the only bad like experience, really. And
right.
You know, and I'm still friendly with that person. Like, you know, I'll see them at shows and say hey, but like, you know, as far as like doing business with them, probably not going to.
Right.
So
it's amazing. You know, one thing that I noticed, because this past event, the Only Fools event, was my first time attempting to do photography at the wrestling event. Like, I did it before and I just kind of was throwing my camera around, but Brandon was kind of showing me the ropes on my camera a little bit because he's more on the technical side than I am. And it was amazing to me, again, talking about the performers that are passionate about wrestling, that are also, you know, as passionate about other people's passions, like everyone helps everyone. And like how many people, like you reached out and told me about, I mean, you've done it multiple times. Like you're very awesome in your compliments, but like you mentioned something about my photography. You mentioned something about my skills as an interviewer. Like you're always the first one to toss a compliment, and it means the world. I very much appreciate it. But like you had Aiden Agro, who made my picture of him his profile picture. Ace Austin, who it was his first time at Limitless. It's not even like he's a regular guy. And he made that awesome picture I got where, I mean, I have it on the wall right up there, but where he's got his staff over his head and he made that his pro. Like these guys were like, oh yeah, these photos are great. And like, it's so cool how
great. Yeah. So
it's so cool how all these guys or the majority, I should say, of these guys are so willing to be like, oh, you do this, let me check it out. Or, oh, you do this, let me help you. And, you know, you help me. And like you mentioned, and we've said it a couple times, like it's family. Whether you're a fan or a performer or, I mean, even Randy, like no other business or promotion or anything, not just wrestling, but anything I've ever been to, is the owner right there slumming it with the fans. Yeah. Because he's still just as passionate about his product as the fans are.
Absolutely. And I mean, this, I mean, for us, like our podcast, I mean, we owe a lot to Randy because he really, you know, he really helped us out with just giving us access, you know, like our very first Limitless show, we, you know, again, it was like that, just like cold email, you know, hey, you know, we do this podcast, we're going to come up to your show. Any chance we can get some interviews with some of the guys? He's like, absolutely, let's do it. You know, and he's like, I'll let him know. And it was just like, it was like that. And the guy's awesome. Like Randy Carver Jr. is, he's the man, around here. And like, we couldn't ask for anything better. The guy is just the best. He really took us under and gave us access to a lot of guys, a lot of events. I mean, just, you know, stuff that we wouldn't really necessarily be able to do, I think, on our own. But he just kind of brought us in and accepted us, and it was great, you know. So we're very fortunate to have him around. And
it's great that he's not jaded and within our age group and still young and down to earth. Like I hung out with him and Harmon at Slap, And I mean, I talked to him at the shows, but that was the first time like we all really get to hang out. Just another guy, you know. You don't even think about the fact that he has all that under his belt. He's just a dude. It's great.
Yeah,
So
but
to
he's
be able
still
to
a
know
guy
him
that
like that,
he's still a guy that will constantly look for like feedback and try and better himself and his product, you know. So like usually after like every show, he'll like message us and be like, "What did you guys think? Like how, you know, what can we do better? What did you like? Like what matches did you like? Who did you like? What talent?" And you know, we'll just like kind of spill the guts and kind of just let him know our thoughts. And it's cool to feel like that consultant almost
yeah,
sometimes,
for
you know,
sure.
to be like, you know, we like this, we didn't really like this. So, and he kind of takes that into
But for him to
consideration.
care what the fans think and incorporate you and listen to your opinions, that's
for sure,
amazing.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So very cool that Maine wrestling is where it is right now. And I think it's only going to get better too. I mean, they're already looking for like a bigger venue. Like,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
They need a bigger venue, and whoa, do they need air conditioning? Because damn,
I know somebody kind of tossed out the idea of the expo. I don't quite know if they're that big yet, because that's a massive jump, right?
That's big.
Yeah.
I mean, I think trying to find like a happy medium in between that is going to be tricky because it's like what really is there, you know. It's tricky. I think.
I wonder if a high school gym would be rentable and bigger than the Armory.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hell, even the Stevens Avenue. I mean, I don't know what they did since the remodel.
Yeah, I haven't
but
been
that
in there
gym,
in 15 years.
That gym was bigger than than the one they're in now.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so fucking cool, right? So did you ever go to EWA?
I didn't. No.
Okay. So at Only Fools, and I think I might have pointed this out, like fucking Adam Hasty was in the crowd from EWA.
Okay, yeah.
And he was and it's funny because he had popped in my mind when they did that spot where what's his face pulled, it was Martin Stone who pulled Anthony Green's pants down, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because Adam Hasty did a very similar spot where he was on top of a ladder and they yanked his pants down and he showed his bare ass to the whole audience. And one of the other guys
his cock too.
Yeah, one of the other guy was there from
It's a bad memory.
From who's the trainer that's there like every time? The older guy. The one that runs the school. Who keeps trying to get me to be a wrestler. Sure. He's always in the back corner by the entrance, like on the other side of the entrance from where all the announcers are. But anyway, he runs his own school. But
Larry.
Yeah.
Larry Huntley.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So he was there with one of the other guys who used to do EWA, and we were chatting, and I was like, yeah, no, that bare ass spot reminded me of like that EWA event with Adam. He's like, Adam's right over there in the audience. And I'm like, do you think he'd mind if I go say hi? He's like, no, not at all. I'm sure he'd love it. So, because I mean, this was high school, right? So we're talking almost 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, this was literally, what, 2000?
Yeah. So I went over and I was like, yeah, I shook his hand and I was like, yeah, I'm a big fan. And like, I remember so many matches at that.
I remember you at the top of that ladder.
Yeah.
Big fan.
And then remember they had that whole summer, that one day they had it was like 10 a.m. to like 8 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't go to it though. I do remember, but no.
Yeah, but no, and he was like, I don't know. I think I guess I'm sure on his end it was cool to like all these years later be recognized by somebody who remembered him from back then. But so I'm curious. I wanted to ask you this, and this popped into my head today.
Sure.
So we had Top Shelf on before Only Fools, but he wasn't on his top shelf. He was on as himself, and you know we had. I mean, you talk to wrestlers at the event, and they're obviously in character. Kayfabe is really strong. And then, like you said, you had Vox on, and she was in character. So when you, like, what do you, as an interviewer, or even just as a fan who might communicate with them outside of the arena, like, do you like also getting to know the performer behind the character, or are you one of those people that like, no, kayfabe should stay 100%? Like, if I see them, I want them to be in character. Like,
no, actually, I really like the behind the scenes stuff. Like as an adult, looking at pro wrestling, I love the behind the scenes stuff. I like the politics of it. I like all of that. The writing, the creativity process. I love it. Yeah, it's weird when people want to stay in character. It's harder because you kind of have to play along, and you almost have to become a character yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well, you have to
I
be
mean,
the access point for them to do their character.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
like
when
the
a
shit
comedian
interview.
comes on and they do their bit, right? So you're
Yeah.
just there to yes and them. I think you're right. Where you're an adult, it really pulling the curtain back like that gives you a whole nother thing to be interested in, as
Yeah.
opposed to when you're a kid where it's just the characters and the wrestling and the
Right.
story.
It would be like interviewing Robert Downey Jr. and having him like stress that he beat Tony Stark the whole time.
But they're one and the
Yeah.
same. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony
Well, yeah,
Stark.
no, they're both
character is
they're
there.
both womanizing drug addicts. I get it.
well, yeah. Well, like how I fell in love with podcasting was because of like Colt Cabana's show, you know. So that's obviously like very behind the scenes, and it's all about like people's journeys and their road stories and stuff. So that's kind of early on what I modeled our interviews after. Um, and I mean, I guess it's still kind of modeled after that. We really like to know where people come from and what their upbringing was like and how they got to this journey, and then one day decided I am pro wrestler. Like this
Yeah.
is what I do.
And I think for me, it makes me a bigger fan. Like
Yeah.
interviewing Troy Nelson, like just to get to know a little bit of his background and how he got to that place as a wrestler, made me appreciate it that much more. So
Absolutely. The stuff that we did with Vox was really cool. Like it's fun to do that stuff because we've had her on twice now. The first time we had her on was that it was like, just where do you come from, like growing up, where'd you train, all that stuff behind the scenes. And then this last time around, I guess Quackenbush wanted her to be in character because of the upcoming Chikara show, and I get that because Chikara is very kayfabe. It's aimed at, mostly like aimed at kids. It's very kid friendly, and it's awesome. I don't know if you guys are into Chikara or not, but
I don't even know what
it's
it is.
very, very cool. It's awesome. It's so cool. They did a show last year in Kennebunk, and it was fantastic. I brought my kid. They're very interactive with the kids. They get them kind of involved in matches, like in various like stages, like holding guys, like feet down outside the
nice.
ring and stuff. And it's very, very cool. It's such a cool product. But anyway, so yeah, she needed to be in character. So, and it was cool. It was fun to be a part of that. It's just hard. It's very hard to kind of.
I assume it almost has to be shorter too, because like I can't imagine you can do like a 1 hour interview in character.
Right. Exactly. Well, because essentially you're making up a whole backstory about a character, like where you can't just rely on your normal everyday
Right.
memories, of growing up. So you have to create this whole backstory for a character. And yeah, so it can't really be that long, especially because the character is pretty new, for her. So it's a cool character. They've got a lot of like kind of assisting like players. Like she's got a whole like little group of like sea creatures and stuff. It's really, really cool. But yeah, I definitely prefer to kind of get the real person like behind the mask kind of a thing.
Right.
So
Now, do you think that one person, now my fandom is the bad guys in everything.
yeah.
It's the Lich King in World of Warcraft. It's the Sith in Star Wars. It's always the bad guys, right? And I like the heels. So one of my favorite guys to see at Limitless is MJF. I love how he is MJF. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And there's that part of me, like, I love to see Triple H as Jean-Paul Levesque. Like, I like to see him talking as himself. I also kind of laughed when I found out that he's not actually from Connecticut. He's from New Hampshire.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I like to see that. But then I had an interaction with MJF, not at, I don't think it was this past show. I think it was the show before that, where like someone was asking for an interview or for an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, yeah, it was either autograph or selfie. Maybe it was a selfie. And he's like, I'm not taking my picture with a poor person.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I have an Apple Watch. Will you take a picture with me? So it got to the point where he wouldn't take a picture. He wouldn't shake my hand. And when I went to fist bump him, he just touched my fist with his finger and then wiped it off. And I almost, like, as much as I would love to see an interview or even do an interview with him as Maxwell, as Max, like, I almost think it would kind of ruin that a little bit. Because
Yeah, I
It
think
would
that there
ruin
are
it for
certain,
you, but to have the interview of that in character, you'd get shut down so fast.
well, no. I mean to
Five-
have the broken, like the broken character.
No, I know, but you'd have to, because if you had it in character, your interview would be 5 minutes, and he would
Right.
throw the camera aside and leave.
Hey, why do you do this? Because I'm better than you. Like
yeah.
that would be
No,
the
he
whole.
did that.
You would have to
Actually,
have an interview in character to start the interview.
Right.
Like have him do that and then walk out and then come back without the scarf, you know?
Right. Like the scarf is his dark passenger.
Yes, nice, good one. I mentioned it on the JT Dunn interview. I mentioned MJF, and he was like, "Oh no, that's not a character. He's really just a dickhead, like all the time." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Like, no, come on, because I've heard like other people like, "No, he's a really nice guy," but
He did it.
yeah, he's one of those guys where he just like
He
I've never
lives it.
seen him like break character.
Well, there was a video documentary that somebody did or is doing. I saw a trailer for it.
Yeah,
And it was a trailer, and it started off as the whole like I'm better than you and you know it, and like spitting at the camera and like everything like that, right? But then and it's funny because like the scarf was off, he was just wearing a t-shirt, and he's like that's Maxwell, this is Max, and he talked for a little bit in the trailer, and I'm like, man, I really want to see that.
yeah,
Because like he's like everyone thinks it's me. He's like, but he's like the real Max it couldn't be any different, or couldn't be more different from MJF.
yeah.
It's a
And I
great
think
gimmick not to let go. I mean, how fun would it be just to go around and be a dick? How freeing.
Well, that's what
Right.
I was gonna say. Like some people can get away with that. Like some
Yeah.
characters are made for that. You
Yeah.
know, like it would be. I think it'd be weird if he was that way and then broke character when he's just signing autographs. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Right.
it would be awkward.
Yeah, and he's
I-
got the perfect look for it too.
Yeah, he's
Like,
good.
Like,
He's
like
really,
I mean, even just to be like the snooty, like that snooty prick. Like he's got like
yeah, he looks
like-
pretentious
yeah,
either way.
like the face shape. He's got the right nose for it, just like Triple H did. Like he's
Yeah.
got that pretentious, like get the fuck out of my face look,
yeah.
and it works.
yeah, he's great. He's that itself. You're right, Brandon. That itself like kind of is a gimmick. And I love seeing him. He's not gonna be back for a little while though. I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see how if he comes back to town at some point.
That's unfortunate.
Mm.
He's always fun to see.
Yeah.
Man, the card coming up Friday looks fucking incredible. It looks so
It does.
good.
It does.
And I'm excited for this this tournament thing that he's doing in June too.
I'm excited to
do you
see this happen at the Portland Room. Just I've been there for weddings, but I've never been there for wrestling, so I can't imagine how it's going to be set up. I remember it being not very big.
It's tight, man. It is
Yeah.
a tight venue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But no, the card looks good.
Isn't there a street fight on that card?
Yep.
Portland street fight?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, JT Dunn and AG.
Now, are they
Street fight.
calling it a Portland street fight because it's going to be outside? Because they might need the room.
Yeah, should be cool. Should be cool.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And they haven't announced Ace's opponent yet, have they?
No, they haven't. So
No.
I don't know. Could be a big surprise. I don't. I can only think of a few.
Wait,
Of
hold
those
on.
surprises that, like,
Limitless
weren't-
just did a post. Let's see
Oh,
if
boy.
they announce it. Hold on, maybe we can.
Breaking news.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Breaking news.
no! Can you imagine?
Breaking the Dream Team with Stokely Hathaway versus the Workhorsemen versus Myron Reed and Trey Miguel has been added to feed the need.
Nice barn burner,
So
dude. There's a lot of debuts. A lot of debuts on this one. Like a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, I don't know who that is, but that'll be fun to see them.
yeah, but they always. I'm excited that Ace Austin's on the card now and not
Yeah.
just like happens to be in the area. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'll say this for
Very
Limitless. Every show I go to is better than the last for me. It's been more impressive each time, so
Yeah,
I have a lot
very
of
cool.
faith in what's going to happen.
I think there are matches that stick out.
There are matches that stick out for sure.
But from front to back card, it's always.
But
better.
you know, as I go, I have more fun each time I go.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
granted, I am an old man and I tend to stand the whole time because you and I move around a lot. So,
Yeah.
by the end of the show last time, I was ready to fucking kill myself. Knees are just
Yeah, and
yelling at me.
We'll see what the air quality is like
Yeah, right.
next week,
Yeah,
and then go. I mean, it's supposed to be raining Friday, so hopefully that mugginess
yeah.
doesn't.
Hopefully it won't be bad, but we'll
yeah,
see.
and then the next one's in June, so we'll see how that goes.
Talk about pulling the curtain back. If we were 15 years younger, who gives a shit what it's like in there? Now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll stay the whole time. Maybe I won't. It depends on how hot I am.
Right.
What a douchebag. Shut up. The younger me is inside screaming at me.
You old man.
Yeah. Great. It's awful late. I better go to bed. No.
So beyond wrestling, beyond podcasting, one thing about you as a person that I notice a lot, because we're friends on Facebook, we follow each other on Twitter. You are family man extraordinaire.
Ooh.
And I need
Yeah.
to. And I just
Are we referencing the videos that we saw earlier?
well, just everything. Like
Some excellent catch in the backyard.
like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like no matter what. Like I mean, I have a lot of friends with kids. And there's two people on my friends list that stick out, and it's you and my friend Cody Sequin. And you guys seem to go above and beyond, and it always makes me happy, because I have very limited time, and I try and do as much with my kids as I can, and it's cool to see. So it's awesome that. And we don't have to talk about it, but like.
No, for sure. No, thanks, man.
But I
like that it makes you happy. It makes me happy. Like,
right. It's just cool to see,
What he's saying is, will you play catch with him, Dad?
Yeah.
All right, son, let's go.
But so many
Maybe
people.
next time before Limitless, we could have a catch.
No,
I
but
just show up with 2 gloves.
yeah, so many people, myself included, use social media for so much bullshit, and it's really cool to see cool family heartfelt stuff being posted up there.
If I see a video of you two playing catch out in front of Limitless, man.
Oh, we totally need to now.
It's gonna happen. Yep.
You show up
Yeah,
with 2
we're gonna do
glads,
this.
but Dad, I'm a lefty.
Well, there's no gloves. I'll bring a football.
There you go. Yeah, man. Dude, he's my son. I love him so much. He's the man. He makes me happy more than anything in this world. And yeah, man, any chance I get to take a funny video of him, I get annoyed with with people that constantly posting pictures and videos of their kids, but at least the ones that I try to do, I think are good. They kind of are funny, and they really show his personality, and he's got a ton of personality. So it's really, really fun to kind of catch those memories and share those moments. We've got a big thing right now going on, a big battle between him and I about Roman Reigns, which is really good. I don't know if you guys
because
caught
he's
any
a
of
Reigns
those
fan,
videos.
right?
He is.
Now, how
I
old
think
is he?
He's 5.
Okay.
I think he secretly does like Roman Reigns, but because I don't like Roman Reigns and kind of make fun of Roman Reigns and people that like Roman Reigns, he's kind of in the dark a little bit about it. Oh, I don't like him either,
He's a
and,
closeted Roman Reigns fan.
yeah, he's a closeted Roman Reigns fan, but he'll make fun of me and say I don't like Roman Reigns, you like Roman Reigns as an insult. And the kid is sharp, man. He's really sharp. Where one time we have a sticker book, a WWE sticker book, and he took out a big sticker of Roman Reigns and he put it on my pillow, and then just put the covers up. And then he just went to bed knowing that I would find it later. He was completely content with just going to bed, going ha, ha, I got him. Not even have to see it.
Not needing the payoff is great.
Yeah,
that's very gangster.
Yeah, it was very cool. And and then in return, he'll be like, "Hey, can we listen to?" And he'll name whatever. He'll say Imagine Dragons, or he likes Rey Mysterio a lot too. So he'll be like, "Hey, can I listen to Rey Mysterio 619 Booyaka?" the Rey Mysterio's song by POD. And I'm like, "Sure." And then I'll take out my phone and my Spotify, and I'll hit play, and it's dun it, dun it, dun dun dun. It's Roman Reigns, and he's like, no, I don't like Roman Reigns, and he loses his mind. So
there was a cool video you put up. Oh Christ, it was a while ago now. It was the Finn Balor theme, and he was getting all into it.
Yeah. He took that on pretty early. He really took to Finn. God, years ago. So
he's a great character for a small boy to enjoy, because he's the demon and he looks badass.
He's a great character for me. I can't help but get into it every time.
Well, we're small boys.
Yes,
right.
Love it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. So yeah, he loves Finn. I mean, he likes all these guys now, and it's so cool. He likes Finn. He likes Seth Rollins. He loves Rey Mysterio, even though he's not really active. He's only seen him a few times currently, like in the 2 Rumbles. But we go back and we'll watch stuff on the network. He's like, "Oh, can you show me a Rey Mysterio match?" I'm like, "Sure." Here you go.
Right.
The guy's the man. And so he likes him. He loves Braun. Loves Braun.
Yeah.
I got him a Braun figure. I've been getting back into figures now because of him. And I collect them loosely, so just so he can play with them. So, I have some of them hanging up there, and I really cringe every time he's like, "Hey, can I open that Seth Rollins?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, here we go, sure."
That'll be bad for me when I get around to having kids. I already have a problem with toy buying, so if I'm gonna end up having a reason to buy toys, legit.
Yeah, I have. It's funny because I have the friend with no kids on one end who buys a bunch of toys. I have the kids on the other end who want a bunch of toys. So for a while, every one of these shelves was covered in Legos.
Yeah, Legos, and then last summer, or the summer before, it was Nerf guns.
Nerf guns.
So I had a little bit of fun with his kids playing with Nerf guns, and then the next thing I know, I have 10 Nerf guns. Buying automatic rifle Nerf guns. What the fuck am I gonna do with that?
I went over his house. He's got this it's as long as this table, and it's like a Nerf sniper rifle.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. As an adult, Nerf is not very expensive.
Right.
Oh wow. Yeah, I have a friend who is not big into guns, real guns. Actually, pretty much, not. I mean, he's not all against guns, but he's just when the debate happens, he's I'd probably rather take no guns, But he's all about Nerf guns. He loves Nerf guns. He's I would. He's just I feel this way about Nerf guns as real people feel about real guns, this. I love Nerf guns. So.
Right. Well, no, that's how I am. I would be the first one to check my name off on a get rid of guns ballot. But Xavier has 30 something Nerf guns. I'm whatever, take them. Because they're toys, they're fun. And I mean, and whatever. I mean, maybe I'm just prepping him to love guns when he gets older.
No, I don't know. I'm not really a gun guy, but I grew up with Nerf guns and playing guns. Playing guns. Didn't everybody play guns when they were kids?
Yeah. Pow. Yeah.
I used to pretend I was Castor Troy from Face Off, man. I had the 2 9s in the back. No?
No. When I was doing...
You could eat a peach for hours, man. Come on.
When I was doing... Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. I haven't seen it. I just love Nicolas Cage. Apparently, he's in a new movie called Mom and Dad, where, there's this thing where, the parents try to murder their kids, so, the kids have to survive for 24 hours, and apparently he's really good in it, and we should do it for Movie Busters.
Okay.
But anyway, no, my big thing was when I did my backyard wrestling, my character was themed after Valak from John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
The last character I created in No Mercy for 64 was modeled after the villain in Neverending Story. The Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great movie. Did you move the slider so he was just a black blob?
He was just a big Kevin Nash looking dude, but all in black.
Nice. Dude, I love the Neverending Story. I grew up with that movie.
Beautiful.
Oh,
I never saw the original until I was a guest on Brett Stewart's podcast. I saw the second one all the time. I loved it.
Yeah.
With
Jonathan Brandis.
Mm-hmm.
With what was her name? The princess, the childlike princess, childlike empress. Yeah, and that was so
that was Jonathan Brandis, and that wasn't it.
Yes, it was.
What was it? Sequest? Was that what he was in before he killed himself?
And Ladybugs.
Ladybugs.
With the Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeesh.
Yoy. But anyway, Quinn, my son Quinn, he has a wrestling character that he created named Quinn the Kid, and he does matches on the couch. And I'm like, oh, this looks familiar. I used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you, kid. Good for you.
right.
Yeah.
Man, memories.
I do miss backyard wrestling and just all of that in general.
Yeah.
Nice.
Too old for that shit now.
That was how you and I became friends anyway. Hey, you're tall. Why don't you suplex me? It'll be great.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 decades later.
And then Raul tombstoning me off his parents' nightstand and just breaking the nightstand. Things like that used to happen a lot. It's great.
Dude, okay, so
when you have 2 fat kids doing a tombstone pile driver, it's bound to be bad.
Don't let me forget Tombstone. Well, I guess we'll talk about it right now. You watched the Greatest Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Did you see Aiden English's head bounce off the mat, or was it just me?
Nope, that happened.
Like,
That was gross.
was there an injury?
I thought so. It looked like an injury. It looked like
Impacted vertebrae.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything. I
haven't either.
I couldn't find anything. Has he been? I don't watch the weekly shows much. Has he been on?
I haven't caught up yet. That really was like the last thing that I watched.
Okay.
Was the greatest.
Because like I saw that, and you didn't see it, right?
No.
I'll show you the impact.
It was gross.
He set him up, and I'm looking, and I'm like, his head's below his knees. That's not good. And and he went down, and I was like, "Ooh!" It's like that looks bad. And I don't know, man. Undertaker. I mean, we all grew up with him, but he needs to retire.
He's got to go. Gotta go. Get out of here.
I mean, why? Why at this point? At this point, it's I don't know. Like
I don't know what they're doing.
Once the
I don't
streak,
think they know what they're doing.
Once the streak ended, it just should have been done.
Yep.
Like,
for sure.
You end it, and then whatever. He lost again to Reigns, and if that's what he had to do, then fine.
But like the whole Cena thing was weird too. Like
like why go in there for like a 2-minute and 40-second match?
Yeah, that was lame.
Like the shit with fucking Elias was longer than the match.
Yeah.
But no build up, no nothing. Just go in and then, I mean, at least he didn't drop Cena on his head.
At least.
But what's he gonna do if he can't? I mean, what does Aiden English weigh? 80 pounds. So like, if he can't safely tombstone Aiden English, he can't do the last ride because of his hip. Like I was amazed he did. And even when he did Old School, he barely could do that at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rickety, very rickety there.
Yeah. I mean, I get not wanting to let it go because it's what he's known for 30 years.
Yeah. And even the fans like, just let your heroes go.
Yeah.
Don't do the Hogan thing and just keep bringing them back.
There is part of me because the thing is with Undertaker, it's the quiet entrance. Like Hogan's not going to wrestle. With Undertaker, it's the quiet entrance, and
it's the entrance. He doesn't necessarily have to do much.
Right. Like
that's the good thing about those guys.
When he came out for Raw 25, it was great. But like Hogan, I don't care. I mean, it could be. It doesn't matter. I mean, not that he's gonna live that long, but I could be 50 and I could hear that dun dun, and I'm just goosebumps.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
because it's what you grew up with, and then you're like, and then you
I don't even equate that music with him anymore. I equate it with Free Bear and Hot Wings. Am I the only one that listens to Free Bear and Hot Wings?
No, but I've never heard them play that.
No, they play it as victory music at the end of one of their games that they play on the show.
But no, so I mean, it's same with The Rock. The Rock can keep coming out. He doesn't have to fight. Just come out and say hi every now and then.
Just come out and be The Rock for a minute.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's not like they're lacking in like young talent to put on matches. You know what I mean? Like they've got a whole roster.
The roster is bloated as fuck, man. They need another show. All those mid-card guys, I would take and put on a separate show, and I'll just watch that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NXT needs to be on more. I mean,
I think NXT is the superior show right now.
It is.
Everything on NXT for me is way more entertaining.
The last 2 or 3 or 4 takeovers have overshadowed the following event.
Yeah,
like
it's because it's formatted better. Like it's short. It's only like 2 hours, 3 hours. Like Mania's like 9. You know, so it's like it's hard to swallow all that. You know, like NXT is you're in and out, and then.
But like even lengthwise, like at TakeOver New Orleans, like that opening ladder match was better than anything they did at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and it was so awesome to see Ricochet because that first Limitless event that we went to.
Oh, he was there. Right?
It was Ricochet and Evan Bourne or whatever, Matt Sydal.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to see him in NXT. And then when he did that moonsault off the tipping ladder, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the shows now is the mid-match commercial, like WCW used to do.
Yeah.
I hate
the weekly shows?
Yeah. I hate it. It takes me right out of the match.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. They have so much going on. Like their roster is just huge. They don't have enough room for everybody. They don't know really who they want at the top. Lesnar's still kind of kicking around, but it's like,
why?
I don't think they know what to do with him. I don't know.
Let him go. Let him go to UFC.
They need some competition,
I'm all for
man.
that.
And that's what it comes down to. They need competition. I mean, Impact is there, but it's not.
I'll say it's getting better. Impact's getting way better, but it takes away. It's gonna take a while, but dude, they're gobbling up talent left and right, just like WWE is. I mean, Tessa Blanchard just signed with them, and the cool thing with them is that they don't sign exclusive contracts. So where WWE typically does, I mean, they let some of their guys go wrestle. Like I know. Like a lot of the European guys, like the British guys, like the
like even Stone before he
right,
yeah.
And Impact is the same thing. So like, but they're making all kinds of acquisitions right now. Like Tessa Blanchard just signed. That's huge.
Oh,
I don't know what I don't know what like WWE didn't see in her. Like, oh my God, like talk about missed opportunity. Like, oh my God, that's just like the lineage of her name. Like you can immediately bring her in, pair her with Charlotte. I mean, the Four Horsemen thing, and then have them feud. I mean, it's just it writes itself really. And
well, there's your problem right there. You're talking about WWE.
Yeah, it can't write itself. It has to be Vince's idea.
Well, I mean, even the writing in general, like you and I. We can make that show better. Right. Fucking, we're not even the biggest wrestling fans.
Right. And it's funny we talk about commentary because John's doing the commentary tomorrow for the show in Rhode Island. And, like, we'll be watching it. And, like, we'll have our own running commentary, running dialogue. Exactly. And, like, I'll say something. 9 times
out of 10, we've already said it.
Yeah, I'll say something. Or you'll say something and, like 10 seconds later, Michael Cole says it. And it's like, well, yeah, where were you 10 seconds ago?
And for 20 years now, I've been saying, fuck Michael Cole.
Oh, my God.
And he hangs on.
Although I'd rather have Michael Cole than what's-his-face.
Coach?
No, the other one.
Corey Graves?
No, Corey I like, even though he's an idiot.
I like Corey. Yeah.
Who's the
other than Booker and
the other black guy.
JBL? Who is it?
Who's the other black guy?
I don't know.
Booker T?
No. No, so there's Coach. Okay, so who was the bald black guy before Coach was there?
Coach? Coach left and came back.
No.
Do they all look the same to you?
No.
Oh, wow. I know who you're talking about. But he was like in NXT, right? Like for a while ago.
I don't know. I can't.
And he always says something stupid. WWE.
That's Michael Cole, but he's white.
I know who you're talking about.
I'm googling
the guy that's married to Jennifer Hudson. What's his name? Come on now.
List of on-air personalities, commentators. No.
He was like in Nexus a while ago, like when they came up.
Come on, not Coachman. Are you really not going to give me his name? Byron Saxton.
Oh,
that
Byron Saxton.
Annoying guy.
I was not thinking Byron Saxton. Nobody was.
No, exactly.
Nobody likes Byron Saxton.
No, he's bad. I would rather have Michael Cole than him.
No. I was thinking David Atunga, by the way.
No, Atunga's great.
Yeah.
No, Byron is go away.
Yeah. Everybody just shits on Byron. Like nobody likes him. Everybody just like
he's always getting made fun of for what he said.
Yeah, and like if you've ever seen like Ride Along on the network, like everybody just makes fun of him. Like nobody wants to ride with him, or if they do, they make him do awful things, or they leave him at restaurants and stuff. It's just awful.
Man, I gotta watch that then because that's good. Yeah. I bet that's funny. Yeah. Although there was was it Mania? No, when was it when Cody Graves said Bullet Club as opposed to Balor Club? Was that Mania?
Yeah. I think it was. I don't think it was at Mania. It might have been a Following Raw or something. Yeah, when Finn came out with the Rainbow Balor Club, he said Bullet Club is for everyone.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Vince is probably like get him out of there.
Yeah. Do you watch Cultaholic on YouTube?
I don't.
They're really good guys. You should check them out. They're from the UK and they do they'll do like the WTF moments for Raw and SmackDown, and they'll do
cool.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a great YouTube show, and it used to be What Culture Wrestling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the only 4 guys that mattered at What Culture left What Culture for personal reasons, and now they have Cultaholic.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
So it's a great thing to watch. I watch it all the time. Like it's my when I have my bowl of cereal before bed, I have my bowl of cereal and I watch Cultaholic.
There you go. Nice.
But anyway, so when they do their WTF moments for Raw and SmackDown, like they have a little soundbite called something about it's been a grave mistake, and it's when Corey Graves says something stupid.
Yeah. Oh, Graves. That's too bad, man. I liked him as a wrestler, like before he got hurt. I liked his style. He had a good look. Like he could have been. I think he could have gone on to be something really cool.
He could have been the next Punk.
I think so. You know, he had that look. You know, he was a really good wrestler. He had a cool.
What was his injury?
Finisher. What was his injury?
Yeah.
Concussions, I think.
Is that what it was?
I think, yeah, because he's had like so many. But
you know, that's something that can be said. As much shit as people give Vince and other higher ups at WWE, they take care of people that are loyal to them. Like you look at Draws, and I believe Draws still works behind the scenes after he got paralyzed by D'Lo Brown. You know, and I believe he still, or at least he did for a while. Like, and then you look at I forget his actual name, but Albert, you know, Prince Albert. Who still works for them and is still involved with NXT.
Yeah, and he's the head trainer down at NXT.
And then, you know, Corey, obviously they gave him a commentator job.
Yeah.
And all these people who, and even Daniel Bryan, like they kept him on. Like Paige, who can't wrestle, they're keeping her on, which is good because it would be a stupid fucking mistake to let her go. I was so excited when they made her SmackDown GM.
I think that was a good decision. I'm not like the craziest like Paige guy, but like I thought that was a really good decision. No, but I think that she definitely adds value, and I think that was like a perfect spot for her. I mean, obviously, like I say, I'm not a Paige guy, but like you never want anybody to like get injured and not be able to wrestle. Like that's a real shit thing to.
And on top of that, not that it was done intentionally, but it was kind of like with Austin and Owen. Like, great, my favorite wrestler gets injured by somebody I can't fucking stand. And now one of my favorite female wrestlers gets injured by fucking Sasha Banks of all fucking people.
You don't like Sasha Banks?
I cannot stand Sasha Banks.
Wow.
You
and I are on two different wavelengths.
She's given too much. I don't like Sasha Banks for the same reason I don't like Roman Reigns, for the same reason I don't like Nia Jax. It's lineage and bloodline.
It sounds like you don't like blacks and fat people.
Oh, wow. That was just said.
I like The Rock. And
That's right. You and I have kind of gone back and forth on Nia Jax.
Okay, so see, and the problem is...
I like Nia Jax.
I don't. The problem
I know you don't.
The problem is because of the angle, one, which people need to get off their
Does she need to have her camera angle higher so she looks less fat?
No, the angle of the angle of the storyline. Why are you saying all the bad things to make me look bad? It's like you're lighting the cross on fire and handing it to me.
I think she's beautiful.
I'm not saying anything about her appearance.
You're getting awfully defensive.
What I was saying is for one, people need to get off their high horse. It's fake. Alexa Bliss, who recently got a boob job, which is amazing.
Is that actually true? Because
I
haven't
is.
seen it yet.
That's why she's on limited. Oh, follow her Instagram.
I do, but the two pictures I've seen her post lately,
you didn't see her like on vacation bikini pictures.
No,
she
man.
got a boob job. Anyway,
it would be hard to tell. I mean, outside of her like pleather push-up shit.
So like Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax are friends behind the scenes. They still do hangout stuff on the network. Obviously, the bullying thing is a story. It's fake. Like they're still friends, and obviously it's a storyline they've both agreed to. So
yeah. And speaking of Instagram, she just posted a whole thing on there about the Backlash match and all these pictures of how they were friends, but not now.
Right,
now it's over.
But anyway, but the WWE has put people into a corner because. For people like me who are big Alexa Bliss fans, and I want Bliss to be champion because I'm a big Alexa Bliss fan. I like her semi-Harley look. I like that she's short. Like she's got a cool look to her. She's got a good personality. She's an amazing heel. Like when she won the Elimination Chamber match, and she was like, "Oh, thank you all so much, but no, fuck you all." Like it was such a great heel shoot. Yeah. But now they've made it to where if we cheer Bliss, we're assholes because we're cheering the bully. And I don't think that's a fair spot to put people in.
No, I agree with you.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's dumb. It's almost like if you were a Sergeant Slaughter fan in the 90s, but then they made him an Iraqi soldier. Like you can't, like I like to cheer for the bad guys. I'm not going to cheer for an Iraqi soldier while we're at war with Iraq. It's not going to happen. Now... I'm not one of these big, like, oh my God, bullying is the devil. Like, I think bullying has a place in some places. Like, it's gone to the extremes. But I think, you know, that's how people develop a skin in school. So, like, but I mean, whatever. And then they have this whole big bullying thing where, like, Alexa's the bad guy, but then like the next night on Raw, Roman Reigns calls Samoa Joe a fat ass.
Yeah, they're all over the place, like with what they want to do. Like they're not consistent at all. Like that was a perfect point. I don't know, man. I'm not crazy about the bullying angle with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. Like I don't know. I just think it's weird, and I think that they could have probably got a better result from not doing that angle.
Yeah, of all things to parody in the news now, that's probably not the one to do.
No.
But we also live in a world of outrage now. Go look at 1998's WCW and tell me that this is way better because
right.
back then the womanizing and the racism, the inherent metaphor of all of it then,
or even like the one that I brought up with Slaughter. Like you were in the middle of because you didn't watch it back then.
No, but was Slaughter not the one that took on all of the racial stereotype gimmicks?
Well, no. So Sergeant Slaughter, I mean, as I'm sure you are aware, his character was he was a U.S. soldier.
Right.
Well, during the Gulf War, they had him turncoat and team up with the Iron Sheik. So, like during a fucking war,
yeah, I've seen those videos.
He sided with the country we were at war with. Like he got bomb threats and death threats and everything. And now people.
But I'll say this though, I think back then, like nobody was like cheering for Sergeant Slaughter. You know what I mean? I don't think it was cool to cheer the bad guy back then.
No, because the whole anti-hero thing wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, until Austin. Until Austin came along, then you were like, oh, okay, this guy, I'm gonna cheer for this guy, but he's clearly like beating up his boss. So then it kind of became cool. I don't know if you can pull off something like that today. Even if it's something like bullying, I think that's like a hot button issue that a lot of people have debates about. And I think for WWE to do something like that, it's a little risky.
It is risky. And I mean, I don't know. In a bubble, it's the perfect setup. You've got the blonde cheerleader looking girl being the bully to the fat girl. And that's what it would be. Like it's set up the way it needs to be. I just don't know if it fits.
I don't think it's not a good look.
They didn't drop it after the title match. Like let it end. Like she came out the other day, and now I'll be the first to admit I laughed because it was great. But like Bliss came out and she's like, you're the bully. You're out here throwing your weight around, and there's plenty of it for you to throw around. And I'm like dying in my chair laughing. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, this is hilarious. But on the other hand, I cannot believe she just said that on TV.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. It's interesting what they let go and what they like cap or what they, like what they don't roll with.
Yeah. Do you think Edge having sex with Lita would fly on network TV?
No. Like, I don't think any of it would,
No. You can't even flip people off anymore.
Right.
And that's good. And obviously, as far as like the hardcore matches, I mean, that's not so much for everyone gives fault to like the family friendly, but a lot of that too is, preserving the lives of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that changed when you had the Benoit incident. Because they're like, maybe we should take concussion seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But and that is partly, to kind of go back to what we talked about a little bit ago with the kayfabe thing. I think that's why it's good that was broken, because it allows them to publicly address that, look, these are actors, they're performers. These are people that they have lives, they have families, they're playing a character, but we need to make sure that character walks out of the ring in one piece because they have a real life to get to.
Well, I think, wrestler safety is a big thing, but I think, WWE has to get a little bit more creative, like with their storytelling, and especially in like this PG era. Like, I don't mind this PG stuff. I don't. I mean, everybody, wants to say, let's go back to the Attitude Era and let's let's bring CM Punk in. He was kind of like the last, not PG guy.
The thing is, though, the matches are better now.
The matches are better. I think, I mean, obviously I've changed because I'm a dad now and I love that my kid can watch it. But like, when I have them, when Brock Lesnar's like busting open like Roman Reigns with an elbow, I'm like, all right, man, like this might be a little much. He's 5. So I don't know. I don't love that stuff anymore as much as as I did as a teenager. You know, when he's a little bit older and he can watch some of that stuff, that's fine. But I think rating wise, they're right where they need to be. They just need to get creative, like with it. Like they're just, it's like you gotta come up with more compelling storylines. Like some of the bullying thing, I think is weird. I don't think it really works for me. Um, and character wise too, I think they have characters that are appealing to all ages. And when you have a guy like Brock Lesnar at the top, he's, I think, very appealing to a certain demographic, like guys maybe like our age, who know him from UFC and stuff. But like my kid doesn't give a shit about Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? And like, am I going to go buy a shirt of Brock Lesnar for myself? No. Am I going to go buy 10 shirts of Finn Balor for my kid? Probably.
Right.
So it's like, where's the money?
But even Lesnar's becoming a little long in the tooth, though. Like, I was a big Lesnar fan. Like, the first ever UFC event I watched was when he got his ass kicked by Frank Mir.
Yeah. That's my fandom doesn't lie in those kind of guys, man. I'm much more in Balor.
Yeah.
I'm way more into that than I am Lesnar.
And watching indie wrestling and becoming a bigger part of that and the fun that they have. And then watching NXT and the fun that Triple H lets them have. And,
that show's pretty tame. You know?
And you even see it, but you know what? I think what it comes down to, at least for me, and I think I might, you guys might be in agreement. The problem with your Reigns and your Lesnar's, and even like now, like your Undertaker versus Cena or Undertaker versus Rusev Day, they're not fun. Mm-mm. Like, that's the thing with Limitless, and that's the thing with the small guys that fly around, is they're fun.
Well, look at you and I here watching the pay-per-views. You can see the ebbs and flows in our excitement.
Right.
You get, look at Mania, the first half of that show before you really get to the big guys, pumped.
Right.
Yeah, that Lesnar match was, I don't know.
Yeah.
Reigns. Fuck Reigns.
That's why they had the Nicholas thing happen right before it, because they knew that everyone would be pissed off about that. So they're just like, all right, now people will cheer for Reigns because he's not Nicholas.
Right.
That was weird. That was so weird. But
I don't mind it. I guess that was one of the ref's kids. But why was
it's a weird thing to try at Mania, though.
Why was it so high? Well, I mean, give the kid a Mania, whatever. Maybe his mom's dying. Who knows?
Yeah, but pre-show that shit. You don't need that high up in the card.
Yeah, why put it to the second to last? Like, I thought it was going to be somebody huge. Like, that's why it was so late. Like, I'm like, this is going to be a big thing. Like, but
I don't know. Man. That's why they just do crazy weird shit like that doesn't make sense.
But
like,
sometimes, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say they can do like really awesome things sometimes.
Right.
Like they put on like just crazy feats of athleticism and really good storylines sometimes, and then they just give you this like pile of shit in a box and say, here, like, take this.
Yeah,
too.
sometimes they, like you said, sometimes they have it. Like,
one of my buddies, I'll tell you after, has like the best analogy for Mania. But continue. Sorry.
Well, no, like a couple Rumbles ago, right? When Orton won, but somehow they made everybody in the arena cheer for it because it wasn't Roman Reigns. They knew exactly how to play you.
Yeah.
It was down to Roman Reigns and Orton. And it's not that we were cheering Orton. I mean, I was, because I'm a big Orton fan. But it's not that we were cheering. It's that we were cheering that Reigns didn't win. Yeah. So they knew. So the writers and the people who coordinated it and everything else, they knew exactly what to do to get people excited. And I think that, especially when you have Lesnar and Reigns in so many of the main events, it's almost like they've given up because they know that no one's going to be excited.
Yeah.
But you never had that problem back in the day when you had Triple H or The Rock.
No.
Triple H in every main event, every Raw, right? Maybe it got a little stale, but yeah, it was more exciting than this.
Because it was either DX, which was going to be entertaining, or it was when he was the Game
in the McMahon-Helmsley era, all of that.
Someone was getting nailed with a sledgehammer. Like, it wasn't just like Triple H is an incredible performer in the ring.
Even with all those main events that you knew were going to get interrupted halfway through, happen every Monday.
Yeah.
Still way more exciting than what you get now.
Yeah. So what was your friend's?
Oh, see, I'll come back to that. But his analogy was really funny about Mania. I believe it was my friend Greg. We're in like this big long wrestling text group with like, a bunch, like 5 or 6 of us. And Greg was saying that WrestleMania was like eating an ice cream sundae Like, it starts out great. There's the whipped cream, the cherry, everything's good, everything's awesome. But then you get to the bottom of it, aka like the main event of WrestleMania, and there's just a big dog shit at the bottom, and then you have to plow through the dog shit because it's WrestleMania and you're going to, and it's like, well, it's an ice cream sundae, so I guess I'm going to.
I mean, it was a pretty big blood spot, and I mean that was fun to see.
Yeah,
because we don't see him much anymore. But like, I don't know. Yeah.
So comparing like now till back then, like I was gonna make the point that I think that the brackets or like the tiers of like superstars was much more defined back then.
I totally agree.
They really only had like 4 guys that I'm trying to think of off the top of my head, like Rock, Austin, Triple H, maybe throw Foley in there at the top.
Yeah, I mean Undertaker at the time.
Undertaker, but then like the next level down, I mean, it really fell. I mean, you're looking at like Billy Gunn, you're looking at like, like the DX guys, and then you're looking at like,
all your like IC title guys,
yeah, but now they have all these guys who could be like arguably main guys. You get Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose when he comes back, all these guys who are champs, or former champs, Balor, you could put the strap on any of these guys and be like, okay, you are our marquee guy. Whereas before you only had like that top 4 or 5 guys, and now there's a whole roster that everybody's rooting for. Like nobody back in the day was going, you know what? We got to give Billy Gunn the world championship. Like he's going to be the guy. Like nobody was saying that.
I love Billy Gunn.
Like, yeah, Mr. Ass.
I'm an ass man. You know what I really love is him getting shat on by The Rock.
Yeah.
Where The Rock plays God. Do you remember that?
No.
The heavens opened up, blah, blah, blah. Piss rolled down your leg. Bob, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter. You don't remember that? The best.
I remember, was it one of the first Elimination Chambers? What was it? I don't remember. But I think it was. And it was something. But it was The Rock, and it was like Triple H and Austin and Kurt Angle. And The Rock had that promo the Monday night before. He went through all of them. And it was like, Undertaker was in there. And it was the whole cookies and milk thing with Kurt Angle. And I tell you, man, they're good. And Punk could run the mic. You've got a lot of guys that can run the mic, but nobody's The Rock. And I don't know if we will see a Rock in our generation.
No, I don't know, man.
No.
And that's the thing with a lot of them is you've got a lot of guys that are great in the ring and bad on the mic, or bad on the ring and great on the mic. And like, that's your thing with Reigns. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, Reigns is entertaining in the ring. But
there's nothing wrong with him. Like,
no, but I mean, he's right now, it's the cool thing to hate him and whatever. But like,
like at house shows here, like he got a huge pop at that last house show.
Yeah. And he's getting better on the mic. Like the promos that he had but even that got stale. Like the first time he did it, it was great. And then like the next 3 weeks, it was like, oh, Lesnar's not here again, so I'm going to cut the same promo I cut last week.
The only thing, I mean, I don't really have anything against Lesnar. I know I like poke fun and, I tease my kid about it. But like the only thing I really dislike about him is that he does the same stuff that like Cena does. He does the Super Cena stuff where like he'll take like 9 finishers and still kick out. And it's like, that's my only thing that I just really don't like. I think he's entertaining in the ring. I don't think he's terrible on the mic. I mean, I know people give him shit for it, but he's fine.
What, Lesnar?
No. Reigns. I'm sorry, Reigns.
You said Lesnar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Reigns.
I was like,
Reigns.
when was the last time Lesnar talked on the mic?
No, not Lesnar. Sorry, my bad. I misspoke. Reigns. He just, he kicks out of like every fucking finisher like 9 times in a row, and it's like, well, this is getting less and less believable now. I mean, we all know that it's scripted, but it's like put on a performance. Come on,
right?
Make it seem legit. And I don't know. That's really my only thing. When he comes out and talks, like I don't care. I don't mind. I'm like, all right, he's fine. He can talk some shit. It's fine with me. But and he's good in the ring. But there's a lot of guys that I think can do better than what he does, and they don't get that opportunity because Vince, because that's Vince's guy. So
yeah. And it's funny because in all the years, like Vince's guy was Hogan. Everybody loved him. Vince's guy was Stone Cold, and everybody loved him or loved to hate him. And then, it was like Triple H, The Rock. Like he like you mentioned, he kind of had like his 4 guys at the Attitude Era. and now everybody fucking hates Vince's guy. So maybe Vince needs to not have a guy anymore.
Well, Vince might need to retire and
let Triple H run it.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a pretty good like general consensus between everybody. Like,
just look at NXT.
Yeah.
If you gave us, if we got the NXT quality that we got, 3 hours on Monday and 2 hours on Tuesday, and then for the like if we got an NXT quality pay-per-view for TakeOver, and then we got an actual pay-per-view that was NXT quality, like like that right there would bring it all back. Like if you could give us NXT quality shows across the board, like you've got everybody back. Like right there. There was somebody, I was reading a tweet, and somebody was walking down the street, and like they saw, I forget it was the what's Adam Cole's faction in NXT?
Undisputed Era?
Yeah, so they were wearing an Undisputed Era t-shirt, and he shouted something, and the guy he was walking his kid down the street, and he hollered something to the guy, and the guy hollered back, "Adam Cole, baby."
Baby. That's funny. I love those moments. I had one of those moments in North Conway once. I'm there with my family. We were hitting the outlets. Huh? You guys ever heard of the outlets?
Yeah, I haven't been in years, but
I see a guy with a Bullet Club shirt on, and I had like a Papa Shango shirt on or something, and he's like, "Hey, nice shirt," and I gave him like the too sweet, and he came over and he gave me a too sweet. My wife was like, "What the fuck was that about?" And I was like,
"Are you guys gonna go fuck in the parking lot now?"
I'm like, we're just nerd wrestling guys, man. Like, whatever.
That happened in Zeb's, right? That's where that was.
Yeah, in Zeb's. I love Zeb's. I love North Conway. It's like my home away from home. I love it.
That's pretty fun.
I like how that happens. I mean, I mean that's that, and it's funny actually. You mentioned that. You should listen to Tuesday's episode of STFU when we record it, because it's all about fandom and tribalism.
Will do.
And it'll be a lot of fun because that's what it is. I mean, it's the tribalism of wrestling fans, and it's and you see that in so many things, whether it's wrestling or gaming culture. I mean, you see it with motorcycle riders when like they ride by each other and they'll do like the hand gesture, or they'll nod, I drove by a guy in a Civic Si the other day, and he saw my car, and as I was driving by him, he nodded, and I nodded. Like,
it was me.
No, it was Gray. It wasn't you.
No, it was me. I beeped and you didn't look. I went, yeah, baby, nothing.
Oh, well, there was another one.
You Civic Si blocked me.
I did, but yeah. So I mean, and so it's I don't know, it's cool, and I've found so many cool people in the local community with wrestling, and it's I don't know, it's fun, man. It's a fun place to be, you know, to kind of tie it back to Limitless and Randy. It's like it's pretty incredible what that kid's done, and I say kid because he's a kid, and it's pretty incredible what he's done and how he's brought wrestling back. And I remember, like, again, because it was a little over a year ago that you were on this, because then you were like, it was right after the podcast that you were on with us here, and you were like, yeah, you should go check out Limitless.
Yep.
And
then you did.
And we did. And here we are. That was March. That was the March show. And here we are, you know, a year and a month or two later. And
man.
Yeah, it's great. It's so much fun.
Yeah, man. I dig it too. Everybody's been like super nice. It's a really welcoming environment and community. The community of indie wrestling. So it's cool. It's really cool. I wish I wouldn't get like Facebook friend requests from people that I don't know now, like by the dozens. Like
make a every week. make a page.
Yeah.
So like I have my personal page, which is private, and I very rarely post anything public on. But then you know me and my pages, you get an invite every other day.
Every other day there's a new page.
But yeah, just make a Facebook page that's Jonny Fashion.
Yep.
And just have people like it. Like, and then that way, because that way you're not like ousting people, but that way, like, you know, random people from wrestling aren't like seeing the pictures of your kid or things like that. Like,
yeah, I'm like, do I want that guy like watching videos of my kid? I don't think so.
No, because that's when we fall back to the stereotypical wrestling fan.
right.
But yeah, no. So when will Quinn's first show be?
Oh, he's been to his first show. He went to a Pro Wrestling Takeover show, which was cool. And then he went to Chikara with me, and he fucking loved Chikara. So I wish that they would come back sometime soon. I was talking to Ashley the other day, Ashley Vox, and she said they're working on it. So That would be very cool if they did. I highly recommend anybody go, even if you don't have kids. It's a really awesome experience.
Nice.
We have a. Do you guys know Jervis Cottonbelly? She's a pro wrestler. He wrestles for Chikara and like, geez, I don't know, like a ton of indie organizations, but yeah, I'll send you a link after. But anyway, he's like one of my son's favorite wrestlers, and I hear he's doing a date up here. He might be doing Pro Wrestling Takeover, and if that is the case, I will go to that just to see the shocked face of my son.
Now that's the one that's like in the afternoon on Sundays, right?
Yeah, so it's like at 3.
It's like in Gorham.
Yeah, in Gorham.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to the first show. I haven't been back since, not because of anything bad, just because the last couple of shows had been like during like Patriots games, like on Thursday. Like one of them was like near the AFC Championship game, and I was like, oh, come on, guys, you guys are killing me. So it's a weird timing for me too. Like 3 p.m. on a Sunday seems cool. Like you would be able to go, but I can never go. And then also they're not entirely kid friendly, which is weird because you would think that they would be at 3 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to talk shit. I think that they're fine. And they actually, Ethan Page is going to be at the next one. Like, so that's pretty huge. So I might go to that one.
That would be a good one too, because Ethan Page seems, based off of his Twitter interactions, he seems very much in the wrestling is for everyone, kids included. Don't be a douchebag at shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've advertised some people that look pretty hardcore. You know, like I can't remember the guy's name, but like I remember the advertisement was like, you know, blood, violence, gore. Like we've got all three in this guy, and I was like, okay. Like I don't know if I'm gonna bring my 5-year-old to that. But then
it amazes me that you have people with like newborns at Limitless. I'm like, what are you people doing?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we've made that observation a few times. What is going on here?
Me too. Yeah, my very first Limitless show, I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, get that kid out of here. Like, what the hell?
Right?
But that goes back to what we said, wrestling fans, right? So
yeah.
Here we all are, a nice family on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you got the wrestling fans mixed with the Maine stereotype, and it doesn't help that it's in Westbrook.
Well, I don't think it's even so much shade. I don't think it's even Maine stereotype. I think it's wrestling fan stereotype.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is. There are a couple things that I want to mention, but I won't mention, just in case, like, you know, some Limitless people listen to this episode because you're on it.
I know.
Oh.
I hear you. Thank you for that.
No, but yeah, no, I'm sure we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's a ton of fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to chill with you again next Friday. It should be a good show.
Definitely.
It's supposed to be rainy, but it's at the Portland Club, so maybe no muddy parking lot. That'll be cool.
That will be cool. Yeah.
I don't even know where this place is. Where is this place?
I'll show you.
Okay, fair enough.
Parking's kind of tight though, man. That's the only drawback in Portland.
I'll just park in the parking garage.
Yeah.
We're close. We could technically ride our bicycles there if we wanted to.
There you go.
Or not be so compelled to both drive our cars.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you can park pretty much anywhere down there. It's not very far. Just, I don't know. Find a street on the West End. It's not far.
Yeah.
Park over by Rooski's or somewhere.
I gotta park my car on the West End.
The West End is the nice one.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Trust me.
Trust them.
I think they both sucked.
No.
Which one's closer to Munjoy Hill?
That would be the East End.
Oh, okay. So that's the one that sucks.
Munjoy Hill is the East End. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not parking my car there.
We have to stop this podcast before we insult more of our local.
I don't know what we got local
Westbrook's out. We can't go to Westbrook ever again. Can't go to the East End ever again.
No, people in Westbrook know they live in Westbrook.
It's true.
And they're fine with it.
I want to make sure that I stress that these are the opinions of me. They do not reflect the opinions of John Fashion over here. So if you listen to his podcast, don't stop listening because I am an asshole.
He didn't come on the show as Johnny Fashion. He came on as Johnny John, right? So
Johnny John Fashion.
Right.
Different persona, different opinions.
You're in character.
Out of character.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah,
man,
no.
again, I mean, we'll chat more and we'll hang out on Twitch a little bit more, but we'll go ahead and wrap up the show proper. I mean, we're almost on 2 hours. I love people that I chat with where it just goes.
Yeah, man.
And you're
for
like,
sure.
fuck, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But why don't you give, for the recorded episode, give a rundown of where people can find your stuff and whatnot.
Sure. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Main Event Pod. I'm on Twitter at Johnny Fashion. Harmon is on Twitter at Harmon316. He's a good follow. Check him out there. If you guys want to listen to the podcast, we are on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. We have a hotline. If you guys want to give us a call, leave us a message. It works via text as well. If you guys want to shoot us a text, have a question for the show, whatever, that hotline number is 929-260-3099. That's pretty much it. We've got a Teespring store that's kind of on our Facebook, pinned to the top of our page. So if you guys want to buy some shirts or something like that, it's always that option. We have these fancy schmancy hats that.
Yeah, mine's hanging up there.
So
I don't particularly. I don't love a foam trucker hat. I don't like hats that sit up high in the front. Makes my. I already have a big head. Makes it look bigger.
Yeah.
Thanks for agreeing. But I bought it because it's cool and I wanted to support you guys. But you notice, like, you saw my branded hat.
Ooh, look at that gem.
Did you notice that it's similar?
It is similar.
Because I really like the look that you guys went with. So I'm like, I like that embroidery in the corner. I'm going to throw my XSX there.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll return the favor, man. I'll grab one next time I see you. If you got any.
This was just for. This was one I did for me.
Oh, so I can't have one?
No,
can I have that one?
No, I mean, you can go to Lids and have one made. I'll sign this one and sell it to you.
Oh, you know what's so funny? We have ours are in black like that, but then we also have a white one. And one of our buddies, Molly, she met Jericho at the Bull Moose when he was up here.
Oh, nice. And
she thought of this after the fact, but she was gonna get him to sign like the white one, and then we were gonna do like a giveaway. But it didn't happen because it was a missed opportunity. Thanks, Molly. But anyway, but it would have been really cool. But,
thanks, Molly.
Yeah, Molly. But anyway, thank you so much, man, for having me on. This is always fun, and we're gonna have some cool stuff coming up with the podcast this summer. Summer months are always fun. The days are longer, so more time to do stuff and doesn't feel like you got to go to bed at like 6 because it's dark out. So
yeah, only the kids stay up later. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna do like a live show at some point this summer. Our good buddies at Luchador Tacos are opening up in a new facility up here, a new spot. So we're gonna work something out with them to do like maybe a live show and maybe try and get some wrestlers up there, do some meet and greets. So we're in the talks with a bunch of people, so that'll be really fun. Most likely looking at like July, August, somewhere like that. So
nice. That would be a ton of fun. We'll have to make our way up.
Yeah, man.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah, dude, they make awesome food too. So if you like tacos and burritos and stuff, that's the place to go. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone remember, follow Johnny Fashion on Twitter and check out the Main Event podcast on your podcast platform of choice. As for the show, you can catch the show live on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/Inked Geek Studios, which is where you can find all of our podcasts, which are now back starting tonight. So everything's back. Everything's back to normal. If you want to hear about all of our guests and all of the games that Amy and I will be doing on Indie Case Files, or the movies for Movie Busters, or our topic of the week for STFU, you can subscribe to our newsletter at tinyletter.com/IG Studios, and that will give you all the information you need. Other than that, you can follow this show on Twitter at Mind of a Geek Pod, because I changed it because I hate having underscores. So it's at Mind of a Geek Pod. And that's it. Our guest next week is Tawny Plattis from the Dirty Bits podcast. It was supposed to finish off the season, but things have been weird, as everybody knows. So I have no idea what's going to go on. So either way, next week's Tawny Plattis. And then if you want to check out the schedule of upcoming shows, inkedgeekstudios.com/Mind of a Geek. It's all right there. Everyone that's on the calendar is staying on the calendar, and then we're going to try and fit people in. We were supposed to have Maine State Posse on before the event on Friday, like we did with Troy Nelson, but that didn't work out because of my leave time from work. John Alba is supposed to be coming on sometime in the near future. So there's a lot of rescheduling, a lot of other guests, and a lot of other cool things that we're kind of working on. I have a new podcast idea, which is really dangerous.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
No, it's a good one. I'm excited. I really want to do it. I don't know if I should, but I really want to do it. He doesn't even know about it yet. But anyway, so that'll be it. So thank you everyone that hung out with us live. Again, it's twitch.tv/InkedGeekStudios. And a big thank you to everybody who downloaded the podcast. No Patreon, no rating reviews. All I will ask, as I've been doing the last few sessions of shows, if you are a fan of the show, if you like what we do here, tell someone, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell somebody you hate. If you hate this show and want to curse somebody with it, tell somebody you hate. Like, if you'll never listen to this show again, just tell somebody else. Let them suffer as you did.
Sweet, good tack.
But yeah, that'll do it. John, thank you again, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and hang out with you. And again, thank you again for coming on kind of last minute.
Oh, thanks, man. I definitely appreciate you reaching out, man. It's always a blast.
Indeed. Brandon, any closing statements?
No, you've done enough.
For Brandon, for John, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.